florals. Florals, florals. That's it. Actually, that is kind of essentially it. Many years ago, I want to say like 2 years ago, for May, I did a video where I read books with flowers on the cover because I love flowers in spring, and also May is my birth month. Woo. I did when I decided to do this video again, I did go, maybe every time I film I should wear one of my many outfits with florals. I have realized I should hang up this shirt instead of putting it in my dresser. In my defense, I did not have a closet of my own until fairly recently. Um, but I decided that, so I'm gonna try my hardest with that. Um, Good news is I have a lot of options. I like flowers. Essentially, this is just me reading books with flowers on the cover. I have many options already downloaded on my Kindle. I didn't even realize that, right? I have been doing this thing ever since like 2 months before the first time when I first did this video. I on Libby, every single time there was a book I wanted to read anyways, I would tag it not only with my TBR but also with a floral tag, and so I just have a list of them. Okay, there's so many options, but also this is mostly excuse to read this. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I kind of have to read it this year anyways. It's the one of two books that fits one of the buzzword prompts, the one that has to do with rooms in buildings or parts of buildings or houses or whatever. I do not have many options for that. This is one of them, and the one that I want to read the most. And so I found a great find of it, and like I got this for like $6. Do you see this? It's gorgeous. I don't plan to read the whole thing during this video. This is why I'm filming the intro now. It is the first. This is not going up until the end of the month. The plan is to slowly, over time, over the whole month, read this. If I finish in this vlog, that's great. If I don't, that's fine. Just know this is happening in the background. So every time I give you an update on another book, I'll also give you an update on this book. The end. Anyways, it's gorgeous. I will update you when I've actually read something. I also could read. I did realize I could also read this. Because this is flowers. Anyways, I don't know if I'll actually read the new V. Schwab, but we'll see. Hello, hi, this is a fast update because I want to go outside and read more. It's been however long, and I finally finished a book for this. Also, update on this is I'm 50 pages in. My goal is to read like 50 pages a day, and near the end of the month that I should finish it. I have not read today's. Other update, I read, literally, I just finished it. What was the name of it? I want to say Business Casual, but that's the 4th book in this series. Brain. Mixed Feelings. That's what it's called. It's called Mixed Feelings by B.K. Borzan, which is the 3rd book in the Love Light Farms series. It is between this random guy in town who's really nice to everybody, and the girl who is the best friends with the main character from the first one, who runs the bakery on the farm, right? Which is why the cover has a cake with flowers on it. Anyways, 3 stars, which I think is what I've rated every book in the series. Okay, here's what happened. First book had something that I don't like to read in it. So I thought maybe it was just that aspect why I didn't connect with it as much. So actually I had 2 things. It was friends to lovers and also one thing that bothered me particularly. And so I rated it 3 stars, and I was like, maybe it's just this book. Read the second one, right? In which I also wasn't the biggest fan of, rated 3 stars, continued the series, like decided to pick up this one as well, just because like it's fake dating kind of technically. So I was like, what are the chances that like I'll probably like this one most out of the series. I love fake dating. Let me tell you, 3 stars. I think B.K. Borzan's writing is just not for me. That's the moral of the story. I don't think it is. I will finish the series because it is the one. I think I could like it. Like, it's between the tattoo artist and I don't actually know this for a fact. I'm just going based off of things that I've read in this book. I'm assuming it's the tattoo artist and the guy who lives in the city comes back to town very regularly and is helping her with business stuff. And so like maybe I'll like that one. But after that, I don't think I'm gonna read any more BK Parsons. I know people, like, she's been coming out with more books recently, outside of this series, right? And people love them. I just don't think her writing's for me, and that's fine. Um, that's fine. It's just something I gotta accept and move on. Also, I don't think I like small town romances. Listen, I did a whole entire video where I read small town romances. I hated one, I DNF'd the other, and the third one, yeah, it took place in a small town, but like they're both city people and they were in the small town for other reasons, right? And that's the only one I liked in that video. So I don't know if I like small town romances. That's another thing. And all that jazz. What is this one about? It is about Layla, who is the bakery owner, right? And she had had a string of really, really, really bad first dates with guys. There was even one guy that was like not the worst, and so she continued to date him for like 6 months. And it was like a horrible time, right? And so it just a bunch of stereotypical misogynistic men asking her on dates, like being like, oh, it's so cute that you're just a baker, right? Meanwhile, she is a business owner, a successful business owner. Is it baking? Yes, but it's a successful business owner? Okay, hear me out. Also, he was all like, oh, you just went to that party school for college because you could have gone to clown school because baking's so easy. Bitch, do you know how much science goes into baking? Speaking of which, she has like, she got 2 degrees, one of them in mathematics, and I think the other in like engineering or something. Like, she's really smart. And then she just really likes baking, so she combined the two. Anyways, she's on that horrible first date. And it's going bad. The cashier is like offering her dessert to go. That's really good, blah, blah, blah. And he like dine and dashes her, and he was her ride. So she's left there, and who happens to be at the same location is Caleb, the love interest for his, I think, brothers, one of his brothers, their birthday. And he's all like, hey, I can drive you home. On the way home, he offers to like this whole deal in which they fake date for a month, in which she gets to experience what dating is supposed to feel like, so she can compare, right? And also he's also had bad luck in dating, in which after like the 3rd or 4th date, usually women break up with him, and he doesn't understand why, and so like she can help explain that to him. Except also he's kind of had a thing for her for years. He goes to the bakery 3 times a week to get the same exact order, just to see her, right? And so yeah, it's kind of that, but it's also like to get closer to her, and then of course she gets feelings as well, blah 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 blah. Who cares? You know, that's essentially the plot, I guess. I'm sure there's like other things I could say that happens, but like it's essentially them fake dating, getting along, getting closer together. Oh yeah, at the I was gonna say bar, it's kind of like a tiki bar mixed with restaurant. On that bad date, it's like the first time she's noticed him, his attractiveness, right? Because of the pineapple Hawaiian shirt that he's wearing. Okay, sure. And so like that's also part of it. Like she's very into him. The other thing I want to bring up, I didn't notice it when I read the first 2, but I think the male main characters, at least in these three, the male love interests are all neurospicy in some way. If I'm gonna be honest, I think part of the reason why Caleb had trouble with dating girls is that he would be very standoffish with physical touch. Well, like physical touch helps ground him in understanding what's okay and not, which is great because like she does that too, right? But going anything past like hand holding or like a squeeze of the hand or anything like that, is like he doesn't do that without like clear consent, and he needs you to tell him what you want in blatant words and whatnot. And also the fact that like 3 days a week at the same exact time on the dot, he orders a croissant and coffee from this one bakery. Like, you get what I'm putting down. And then the one from the second book, it mentions that he doesn't like loud or chaos or anything like that, and so that's why he loves being in the field so much, because it's quiet and he can calm down and think his own thoughts and all this stuff. And then the one from the first one, when his girlfriend goes on a work trip, he organizes all her books in by genre and author, I believe. Like, you see what I'm noticing these things slightly more now as a person with my brain now, because like I know more, so I can catch it more. And so like I don't know if it was as obvious in the first two, or if it was just thrown in here as these throwaway lines to be like, hey, it's all of them. But Caleb very strongly gives. Like, I would not be surprised if he was on the spectrum, right? And so that's just something interesting. It made the sexy scenes very fun, because like he'd be like, no, I need you to tell me exactly what you want me to do, and exactly what you're feeling and all this stuff, and that was a fun time. Anyways, that's it. I think every side character was kind of overbearing. His family, I get. That was like a cultural thing. It just would make me anxious. I'm gonna be honest. But like her friends are also very overbearing, and I'm just like, oh god. And also the whole town is. I think that's why I don't like small town stuff. It's usually something quirky is going on in the town that bugs me personally. And so yeah, no, that's all that. 3 stars. Moving on with my life. I'm gonna start the next one in a hot second. Hopefully I like it more. It has lower average rating, but it's sapphic, so maybe I'll like it. Oh, I call this look, it's hot and sticky out. It's so bad. It's so bad. The only reason I'm wearing this sweater is because this area right here with this dress, very unflattering. This is why I don't wear strapless dresses. Also, I'm counting this as flowers, which fits for this book, because if you look closely, one of them has flowers on her dress. And also in her gym bag, there are also a bouquet of flowers. I think they're her wedding bouquet. So I'm counting it. Anyways, funny story, the sapphics weren't better. In fact, I DNF'd it 7%, I believe. I don't remember these characters' names because I only read 7%. That's like 2 chapters. one night and one yesterday morning, and I went, I can't. Because I then looked at reviews, and what I was expecting to be an issue for me throughout the book, according to reviews, is going to be an issue throughout the book. So yeah. Anyways, Lizzie is the main character who, yeah, she is lower class. Her mother deals with addiction, and so she has to pay her own bills but also pay for her mother's bills, right, to keep her mother alive. And the only reason she has a job is because her best friend from college, I think, his parents own like multiple gyms, right? And so they like hired her because he was like, hey, can you just give this friend a job? So they just like hired her to like do basic cleanup. And now she is technically a manager. I don't think she actually has the title of manager or the pay of manager, but she's technically a manager of one of the gyms with a dream of opening her own gym. But like, they don't pay her right. And also she gets every single time she has to call them up because there's like a problem, like one of the gyms flooded one time or anything like that. She gets very uncomfortable. Yeah, I'm gonna put a lot of it on the mother. Because that's the only one I heard about in the 2 chapters I read. But his mother is James, who's the best friend. His mother is very much giving those middle class people who are like doing okay, and then suddenly they were making more money and now they're upper middle class and they think they're better than everybody else. And she happens to be from lower class, and so she really hates on Lizzie. Right? Also, James's perfect sister is getting married, and he is trying to get Lizzie to come be his +1 at the wedding. I'm not, it's not confirmed. I don't know if he's bisexual. He's definitely into men. That is confirmed in like the first few sentences of the book. But I am getting the vibes that the mother is not a big fan of her son being gay because it's bad for the image, right? And so he can't bring a man, despite the fact that there's multiple men that he's like got things with. He could seriously date a man and then bring him as a guest. Like, he had plenty of time, but no, he brings his best friend who he knows feels uncomfortable around his parents. It also feels like his sister always is like the perfect sister or perfect daughter, blah, 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 Kara. Anyways, because of this whole situation, I don't understand how this happens. I was thinking about it last night. I was like, is this a plot hole? I don't know, because I didn't get that far. But somehow, she gets really drunk at the wedding. I don't know how you get drunk at the wedding before the actual wedding. Like, I get getting drunk at the wedding and doing all this, at the reception. But it says, yeah, it says bride to be in it, so it's pre-wedding, and I assume Kara's not in her wedding dress, or else Lizzie would have recognized this is the fucking bride. So literally right before the wedding, she gives Kara a pep talk, and I'm assuming it's gay panic. And because of it, Kara ditches her groom to be, right, and she has to keep this from the parents, because if the parents find out, they're gonna be upset and like fire her, which I would like to state, I don't think that's legal. A lot of this is giving really icky. This is where we get to the really icky part according to the synopsis. Basically James figures out that she was the one to give this pep talk. She's not the reason why. Kara wanted to cancel the wedding. She just was the one person that gave her okay, whatever. But James somehow finds this out and strong arms Lizzie into entertaining. That's what it says in quotes. Entertaining. Like, there's the quotation marks. Kara in her quest to find herself, aka sleep with my gay panic sister, and so she can figure out if she's actually gay. And somehow romance is supposed to happen from this. Anyways, as you can imagine, every character who isn't the main character is insufferable. That's what I gathered from the reviews. Even her, she's not the best, but like, at least her, it's understandable. She is in a horrible situation financially, and because of all this stuff. And so, like, I get it. I get why she is not a great person, but like, her mom, I get also her mom's like in the throes of addiction right now, so that's why she's not doing great right now. But like, her partner, the love interest parents aren't great people. Her best friend is insufferable. I assume the love interest is not going to be great because it's going to be a lot of the gay panic. Like, I've read books like this. Like, I've read sapphic books where there is a class divide and it goes into the class divide and classism
eloquently and well done. The first Anna Stone that I read, I don't remember the name of it. I should look it up actually, because it's actually really fucking good. Tangled Vows, that's what it is. In which it's like a fake marriage of convenience, in which to get her inheritance she has to be married. And maybe I should reread that, because that's so much better. And she's like a lesbian, and it wasn't believed that gay marriage would be legalized. So like she has to get married really quickly. And she finds an escort who is into her. And is like, hey, I'll pay you a large sum of money for you to just be married to me. You don't have to do any of that, right? And romance happens. And there is eloquent discussions of the class divide there in that one. That's so much better done than this one. Every character is more of a caricature than a character, and it's not. And I'm disappointed. I'm just disappointed. I had high hopes. I'm pretty sure this is what I requested the arc on Neckley, and now I'm not mad at it. You didn't get it. So that's that. That's my thoughts and opinions. I'm gonna move on with my life. Goodbye. I still have not read any more of the 10 of Wildfell Hall. I've not had time. I've been reading other things. I have plenty of other books to read for this, but I have to read some other things first, so I don't know when I'll update you. I don't even know when the next book is gonna be. Goodbye. I fear I'm gonna run out of florals. What is? It's sunny now. It wasn't until like 30 minutes ago. Okay, it was rainy. And it has been rainy. Anyways, I read another book. Have I read any more of the Tenant of Wildfell Hall? No. In fact, I read Forget Me Not, which is funny because the first version I did this, I think it was shortly after this book came out. And I planned to initially read it for that video, and then I didn't. And now, 2 years later, here I am. 2 or 3, I don't remember how many. But I finally read it. And I wasn't a big fan. I gave it 2 Bethesdas. I feel like I need to explain. It follows Amma and Elliot. Listen, before I go into it, we need to recognize something that I didn't think about when I went into it, and then I was finishing last night, and then I went, oh yeah, that's why I don't like this. Or one of the reasons. Another reason is I don't like Elliot. But main reason is because I don't like second chance romances, and that's essentially what this is. It has been 2.5-ish, 3-ish years since Amma and Elliot broke up. She is a wedding designer slash manager, one of those people, right? And he is a florist. He inherited his father's florist business. He usually works for weddings. Because of his engineering degree and whatnot, he makes a lot of like really cool and interesting designs and infrastructures, and then inspires her to make really cool weddings, all this stuff. Essentially in this, she's been running her own business for a little bit now, but she's not as up in there as she wants to be. And then Hazel, who is a famous social media star slash model slash actress, and her fiance are getting married, and her fiance works for Elliot's mother, technically, who is a senator, and recommended Amma, and so they go to her already planning to choose her as their wedding planner. That's the word I was looking for earlier, not manager, planner. And so essentially she agrees. She has like, it's the biggest wedding she'll have done. It's like $250K is their budget, but that I'm pretty sure they go over it with all the stuff that happens. She used to work under this big name, right, in wedding planning, in which she did have that kind of budget there, but like since going off her own, her whole thing is doing smaller budget weddings. She does like doing those because you have to have creative solutions to issues, right? And so it makes her feel more motivated and whatnot. But the fact that she has this big giant wedding, part of it is that it's gonna be like all over social media. At one point, a TV crew comes in and does like a TLC show based off of the wedding. and the wedding planning process, all this stuff. Now here's the thing. I essentially, initially liked Hazel and Jacqueline, her fiance. Did I mention they're both women? I did essentially like, or initially like them. I keep on saying essentially. I initially, liked them. Uh, but, a lot of, because Hazel is working on a movie while the wedding planning is happening, and also the wedding planning, they want it in October, and I think the book starts in, like, March or April. So, they got very little amount of time to get a lot of shit done. And so it's a lot of Jacqueline, aka Jackie, and almost spending time together, occasionally having to deal with Elliot. Jackie already does know Elliot and is kind of friendly with him, so that's like a whole thing. Um, and so rarely is Hazel there, and the times that we see of the wedding planning process is when Hazel happens to be there, and it's a lot of them trying to hook her up with Elliot, which is awkward because we, as readers, know they had a tumultuous relationship that ended in a really bad breakup, right? It gets to like ahead. There were like two things that made me really not like the two of them. Where like the third time they're like trying to get her to hook up with Elliot, and it starts getting really detailed into Alma's potential sex life, and after like 5 minutes of them insinuating that she's a slut, they're like, oh, this sounds really bad. This is not what we meant. And it's like, you've been pressuring her into this, and this isn't like the only thing they try to pressure her into. They try to pressure her into going to their bachelorette, to the point where like her old boss Whitney, there's like a whole bunch of background stuff going on with that I also am like mad about. It was interesting, I'll give you that. Like all the wedding planning stuff, I was the part I was most interested. I'm gonna be honest. And that was part of that plot line. So it did interest me, but a lot of her when she was working for her was her being like, you can't get so close to the customers, which I understand, but also like Amma needs to get close to them to understand how to make their dream wedding, right? And all that jazz. But like they go, despite the fact that she has said no multiple times about going to the bachelorette, and they keep on trying to force her to go, and then they bring it up to Whitney, and then Whitney makes a bunch of comments about it and side marks, and then afterwards she's like, yeah, I can't come to your bachelorette, and they are really upset about it. And then as you can expect, things go wrong on the wedding day, including part of the decor that they didn't go to the full extent of saying it was like an heirloom of Jackie's. Like they didn't give the full extent of what it was initially, and so when she tried to handle it, it fell on her foot and broke her foot, and so she's literally in the hospital while still running the wedding from afar. And Hazel goes live on Instagram to probably at least thousands of people saw this, complaining about her wedding planner. And I that really put me over the edge. I was like, you're already so pushy, and then this. I'm like, no, 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 I don't like you. Bye. So that's the whole thing. I don't like, that's the whole premise, is them having to work together after being broken up for like 2.5-ish years. And every once in a while we get an Elliot chapter of the time when they were together, right? To like from their first meeting up until their breakup, right? And so slowly we're learning from his POVs how they broke up. Because initially they were happy. Also 99% of the sex scenes are from his point of view in those chapters. And let me tell you, I didn't like them. They weren't bad per se, but they did not do anything for me. They weren't as bad as the ones in It Happened One Summer, which I really hated. I really hated those sex scenes, oh my god. But they weren't my favorite. I was not there for it, which surprised me. That's fine, that's whatever. Anyways, now this is where we gotta talk about where I hate Elliot with a passion. I have like 3 examples off the top of my head on why I really don't like him. I'm gonna be honest, the first time we see a flashback scene, in which is the first time they're meeting really, he thinks something that really pisses me off, and I did not like him from that point onwards because of that. It also should be mentioned that in the current timeline, from Anna's point of view, he is rude all the time, and it's supposed to be like endearing, and instead it's giving me bitch, fucking use your words. Anyways, because of him, it gives, the canonical, because she, also, I should mention, he was, like, 24, 25 when they were together, and she was 20, right? And so, it was giving that canonical 19, 20-year-old, maybe 21 max, relationship a woman has to be in that is kind of toxic. He's not good for her, but she thinks that she can fix him. And then, he says or does something that finally pushes you over the edge, and, you're like, I kind of don't want to date a man ever again. That's what it was giving. And mood. Also part of the reason why she doesn't want to date men ever again, this is an important part of her character. Her mother's been engaged and married like 16 times. Right? So, she doesn't understand, why, like, she does love weddings and whatnot, but in her view, weddings are just, like, a party, and marriage itself, like, signing a piece of paper, that type of commitment doesn't mean anything, right? You have to choose every day, that type of mindset, is what she's doing, except, everything I just said to explain it, is done better than it is in the book. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. Anyways, their first meeting, is when she's working under Whitney, and, one of the groomsmen, there's, like, this whole rule that we hear about before this, where never be alone with a groomsman, and we learn why this rule happens, which is, one of the groomsmen, corners her, grabs her, inappropriately, and insinuates she gets on her knees, cough, cough. Elliot witnesses this, is about to go defend her honor or something, but she punches the guy herself, and is injured, and it causes a ruckus at the wedding, obviously, because one of the groomsmen has a bloody nose, and this is why I really don't like Elliot, okay? Nothing after this, you could get me to like him, because his mindset, after this, she's, like, crying, shaking, trying to keep it together, and she's still, like, trying to, like, fold napkins as her hand is literally bleeding, shaking, so she's trying not to get blood on things, right? Right? And his mindset is, and I quote, maybe she's learned her lesson now. Hey, my dude, a woman being sexually assaulted and harassed, maybe don't victim blame her. My dude, oh my god, a woman wore a skirt, that means that this is deserved. Yeah, I don't like him. Because of that, other things, which essentially is the breakup, both these are in the breakup, he says a thing, I will talk about it later on, because it is the final thing, like, I was already pushed over the edge with the victim blaming, and that I just talked about, but, like, when it finally came to the breakup, I was like, dude, what the fuck? I was like, no, does she broke up with you, right? But afterwards, when he's trying to, like, make it better, he jokes that, she should just get rid of her cat, and she, ignores that he says that, and so she can ignore that he said this thing. Hear me out, if anybody, told me, jokingly, more than once apparently, to get rid of my fur baby, I would never see them again, and they'd be lucky if they could see ever again. Thank you very much, that is my child. And then, the thing that he tried to make better, she has, at this point, recently, brought up the fact that she never wants to get married. He asked offhandedly one night, what her dream proposal would be, and she says, I don't want one, I don't want a wedding, right? So explain to me, 6 months into the relationship, they're at his mother's wedding, that she is the wedding planner for, right? She's actually working, but she takes a break so that they can dance on the dance floor together, right? And he says, I love you, and it shocks her a little bit. This is a girl with commitment issues she understands why, right? And so, like, and he understands that saying it would be a bit much for her, and so, like, instead of giving her a moment to breathe and, react and do anything, he sees her slightly starting to panic, and so his solution is to say, will you marry me? And she goes, bitch, I told you I don't want to get married. I don't want a proposal. Also, reminder, he is proposing to his girlfriend at his mother's wedding. That alone is wrong, okay? Even if she is not a commitment phobia, and did not ever want to get married, right? but he's all like, oh, whoops. Like, immediately in his head, he's like, oh, that's the wrong thing. Like, she's like, I told you I never want to get married. And then your thing is asking me to marry you. And instead, like, in his head, he understands that that is, like, totally not okay. And he really just disregarded everything she told him about, what she wants in her life. Because of what he wants in his life. And instead of having a converse, he starts panicking because where are they supposed to go if they can't get married? Men. Have you heard of gay people until recently? Like, shut up. Right? Right? And so he's all like, oh my god, dude, how, like, what are we supposed to do for the rest of our lives? Like, where is this supposed to go? All this stuff. Instead of having, like, a normal conversation where you realize you want something long-term with this girl and having a sit-down conversation about this, he decides to corner her at his mother's wedding, propose, and then when she panics says, well, then this can go nowheres, right? And she, and then he's all like, well, maybe we can just forget about it. But she, in her mindset, she's all like, well, he proposed, he wants to get married, and that's not something I want. So we're not compatible. So of course I'm going to break up with him. Right? Right? And then, and then the end of the book, she kisses him, and she's like, I do want forever, I do love you, marry me, and it's supposed to be cute. It's like very much the end of Tangled, which it's played for a joke that Rapunzel keeps on proposing to him. It's kind of like that, where she keeps on asking him to marry her, and he just hasn't said yes yet. It's supposed to be played for jokes. I have not seen once an example of her getting over commitment phobia, minus the fact that, like, she's before him, she was a one night stand type of girl, and she hasn't been able to successfully have one since then. That's essentially it for her character arc of commitment phobia. I don't think that's how it works, guys. Anyways, I know Leahy. I know Leahy. That's the moral of the story. I know Leahy. I don't like him. He does a bunch of stuff that give me red flags in the past timeline, and then the current timeline is just him being rude to her all the time, and is just being excused as that's just his personality, and that's not my thing. Though I do pretty sure there's like another book kind of connected, because the cellist was briefly mentioned in this one where he also similar personality, right? Right? And I have also heard good things about that one. I think that one may be more at my speed, because I do like the characters' interest in their work, and how their work is important to them, and why they like their work, and actively seeing that part of their lives, right? And that's a classic musician version of this, essentially. And I do prefer classical music over weddings. That's more my thing. I love classical music, in fun fact. And also, I don't think that was Second Chance. So there's a higher chance I don't like it. Because I don't like second chance romances, because you have to give me a reason why they broke up that is understandable, and then give me a reason why they should get back together. Like, have they changed? Have they grown since then? I don't, him maybe, her, I didn't see it. I'm supposed to assume so, right? The bird is back. I hear him behind me. There's like the reason why they broke up, understandable. I wouldn't forgive him, but I guess she does. But also, I haven't seen the character growth for her to get to the point where she can be in a long-term committed relationship. Minus the fact that she's been alone for 2.5 years. Oh no! And then he was there for her during a time of need when she broke her foot. So the end. They're in love. 2.5 stars. I say this, it's a 2.5 instead of a 2 because the writing of it itself was really good. I just didn't like the characters. But the writing itself was really good. Like, I was reading, it's like the first night I started it, I was like, I'll just read a chapter or two before I go to bed. That's like a regular thing for me. I accidentally read like 60 pages. I read 19% that night, accidentally. It was like 11:30, I went, oh no, I have to go to bed. That happened to me twice reading this book. Last night, I was like, I don't think I'll be able to finish it before I go to bed. It was like 11:45 and I finished the book. So I will give that. It was well written. I just didn't like the characters. If the characters seem like your type of thing, I recommend, because it is well written. Goodbye. That's my update. I don't know what book I'm gonna read for this. Here's the thing. This week is chaotic. Because tomorrow I have meetings with people. Friday my sister leaves for like a month, and so it's like, I mean, that means that like 2 a.m. Saturday, technically, I could be editing this. But like, I don't have much time left, and the time I do have left is gonna be chaotic. So we'll see how many more books I read for this. I'd like at least one more, because I prefer to be able to put at least 5 books on the thumbnail. I'm gonna be honest. I do have a graphic novel I could do. I just remember this. I may pick up that soon. Anyways, that's everything. Goodbye.
We put curtains up in here. Can you tell? It's slightly darker. There are flowers. Okay, there are flowers. Do I have cuter flower outfits to wear? Yes. But also, I've been like waking up with migraines every day. So, this is what you get. You get a low effort. Update, because I finished a book. I read a whole book today, actually. I'm gonna be honest. I started at like 8 this morning when I was in bed with the dog, and I finished it around noon. It is now just before 5 o'clock. I also I read 2 chapters, which is 14 pages. We don't need to. I'll make more progress at some point. I swear. Anyways, I read, I think it's called Genderqueer, which is essentially a graphic novel, nonfiction, about the author's experience through middle school age up until mid-20s with gender and sexuality as a non-binary person who may also be asexual. It was good. 4 stars. I would recommend. 4 stars is what I give most nonfiction. So there's that. Bonus fun fact. I'm pretty sure, I don't know which one's younger, which one's older. There's a sister, and then the author, right? Who I assume did some of the art, because part of the story is going to getting a master's degree for comics. So I assume did some of the art, but the sister Phoebe also did some of the art. So I thought that was cute, because I did really like their sibling relationship. And I thought that was cute. Anyways, also the other thing I want to bring up is it did very much give Alison Bechdel. I haven't read many Alison Bechtels, but I have read 1 or 2, I want to think. Because of Bestie, it gives very Alison Bechdel, which is why when there was there was a Bechdel reference, and I went, oh, yeah, like even the art style was given a little bit, right? I could definitely see the inspiration there. Anyways, it was good. It has flowers on it. It's another nonfiction. It's a banned book, so bonus points for that. Goodbye. Maybe I'll go make progress in this. I'm currently at the point in my life for this, because it is Wednesday before this goes up. I should mention this. It is Wednesday. I could try to read another book for this, or I could actively work on upping my total books read for the month so that I have more to talk about at the wrap up, and just try to make progress on this for the rest of the week. And so, like, which one do I do? Do I start another book, or do I do this? And this is why I have like 14 books I'm actively reading. We don't need to talk about it. I do think if I were to do another one, I don't know, because there's one that I have the audiobook for, but I don't think I'm gonna like it. I'm thinking that one's gonna be a DNF, so I may try it tonight, because that's usually when I listen to audiobooks, it's right before I go to bed. So I may try that tonight. There's also an arc I could read, because somebody's behind on her arcs. There was one that was due like 2 days ago, and I have not picked it up once. We don't need to talk about that. Anyways, I could pick up that one instead, and just quickly read that. We'll see. I'm kind of leaning towards that one though right now, because that one's giving more oceany or summery, oceany vibes. So we'll see. Future me will let you know. Hello, hi. Flowers. There's a bunch of mini flowers. Yes, I am wearing a cute outfit for the last update. Yay! Also, my sister just left for her vacation. So my dog's very sad. Did she just run around with yak chew in her mouth, in the back of her throat, and not dropping it, just ran around with it. Yes, yes. Did I have to give her a treat to get her to drop it? Yes, yes. Anyways, that's how my day's going. I was contemplating trying to finish the Tenant of Wildfell Hall before I updated you, but I think if I gave myself yesterday or tomorrow as well, I could do it. And then just edit this as fast as possible and get up, blah blah blah. But I'm wearing the cute outfit today. I put a lot of effort into the cute outfit today. So, no. I will try to finish it before the end of the month, but I don't know about that because there's only a few more days in the month, and I have a bunch of other stuff I also have to do. Again, because sister just left. Anyways, I'm here to tell you that you remember how I thought I was gonna DNF one of them? Well, don't worry, I did DNF that one, and the other one. I also DNF the arc. I tried to both of them. We'll start with the arc because that's the one that happened first, which was Siren Says. Which we'll talk about my issues with the title. I'm going to explain to you what the premise is in a hot minute, but I need to explain why I DNF'd it, which is, I'm gonna try to do it faster than I did when I explained it to my sister when I was trying to decide whether or not, and then I just went on a 5-minute rampage about why I don't like this book, I should DNF it, right? Which essentially is, shortly after I finished, or DNF'd the book, there was a dream sequence, right? In a typical fantasy, they're very important, blah, blah, blah. Except the way that it was written, I'm very bad at noticing AI. A lot of the times, especially in writing. And so the fact that it made me go, is this AI? Should tell you something? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think the writing, especially when it comes to the magic system, the only part I like, the world building and magic system, the only part that interested me, because the romance wouldn't have done it for me. I can tell you that right now, when I talk about him. But, that part is not well done. It gives, Girly Pop's first, attempt at writing a fantasy because romantasy is popular right now. And she works in the publishing universe. So, like, it felt like a conglomeration of a bunch of buzzwords or buzz things in publishing right now to try to sell a book, right? And it felt like the all the fantasy aspects could have gone through another round of edits, being more thought through. I did look at reviews after I DNF'd it of people who did finish it. That's the weakest part. By long shot. The greatest explanation of this, on top of the dream sequence I brought up already, is the title. Siren Says. The main character's family line is like magic, which is passed down through the women in the family, right? And they call themselves sirens. Now, if I were to, I don't know, bring up the 4 elements in front of you, and you were to point at one of them, when I brought up sirens, and what first one came to your head, I'm willing to bet it would not be nature. That's what their magic is. It's nature magic. That's not sirens. It's not like, it's like, her magic is very plant-based, and so is her aunt's, which I do have the spoiler. I spoiled myself before I DNF'd it. And then when by reading reviews, and after the fact, I went, yeah, that kind of makes sense, though. That just seems like natural progression of the story, right? So, the aunt and her both have strong affinity for plants, but also there's a thing with ravens, constantly, everywheres, right? And so it's not just plants, it's nature in general, right? Which is why her name's Raven. Break for the fucking allergies. Also, the bird's back. I hate that bird. Anyways, so the birds are a thing, plants are a thing. Now you may be like me, somebody said Celtic in their review. I'm pretty sure it's Welsh. Mythology is what this is based off of, which is fine, which is great. In fact, if you were to look at some of my favorite books, nature magic mixed with mythology of a white group that is usually not used mythology-wise
in books a lot is a thing I like. I can think of a Polish one off the top of my head. So in theory, this would work. For me. Except I'm pretty sure even in Welsh mythology, sirens aren't planned. I'm gonna be honest with you. Hear me out. Anyways, let me explain to you the premise, which is kind of confusing, because I'm gonna be honest with you, the way when I started reading it, I thought she was like early teens, or no, late teens, early 20s when her mother died, but I think she was actually 6. It makes no sense. The timeline actually makes no sense about this, but her mother dies, and her mother has magic, and is really sick and unwell, and she's taking care of her mother, and the day that her mother dies, she kind of is possessed by magic, and puts a curse on Raven, the main character, right? And it's really painful. It's constant pain on her back. It's like this giant black mark on her back, that continuously grows. And the doctors have no clue what it is, and they keep on doing electroshock therapy to it, to try to stop it, because it's gonna kill her. It's gonna take over at some point. It's gonna kill her, right? Is a whole deal. But of course, the treatments also hurt, so it's like, right? And she is on her way to a bone setter, which is another type of witch, when she comes across a blood rose, which drinks blood, and it drank her blood, which summoned her aunt when she's at work. And then her aunt's like, hey, I'm your secret aunt. Here's a candle of death. Light it, and it'll fix it. And so she does that, because her aunt's plan is, their family line, there's this, like, one special day of the year where they can talk to this wisps, and they can get any wish, from that wisp, right? And so she wants Raven's help to do that. So in order to do that, Raven needs to unlock her magic. So in order to do that, she needs to do the candle stuff, get her magic back, right? But, this bitch hasn't had magic this whole time. She talks to plants, like, actively talks to plants in this scene where this is happening, right? Before she's gotten her magic back, right? Right. And then, so that's happening, right? And then, with the understanding that when she gets her own wisp, she's gonna catch one for her aunt, but also for herself, and when that happens, she's gonna wish for her magic to go away, because she doesn't like magic. Magic has only been pain for her. Understandable. I get it. From her mindset, I get it. So, that's kind of the plot. She awakens, and I assume she stops her abusive stepfather. And the two people who are helping her on her journey are her stepbrother, Ash, I think that's his name, and they're really close. They're like best friends. And the guy she has feelings for. This is what we gotta talk about. Idris, hear me out. You can't name a character Idris. You can't name a character Idris. And he be a white, rich guy who's rude to the main character. Because when you say Idris, when you name a character Idris, I'm picturing Idris Elba. You can't do that. Anyways, his name is Idris. Her boss is some really rich, pompous guy, right? His mother or grandmother or aunt or something like that, died. She had a bunch of really nice plants in this, like, greenhouse, like penthouse greenhouse type situation, right? And so Raven, our main character, her whole job is going through and keeping the plants alive, and he constantly, like, changes things around, and then, like, they start dying because he changes things, so she has to go and redo what he's done, right? And all this stuff. Now, Idris is, like, his best friend, but also a guy who works in gemstones or something. This is where we get to the part where the synopsis called him a stone master. And so I, the person I am, thought, you know, we were talking like actually rocks, stones, like he was a mason or something. And this was going to be not current day setting. And then imagine my surprise when she lives in a fucking city. Anyways, so that's that. That's the type of rocks he works with. And so literally the first time you meet him, he is like showing up at this place because the boss has some gemstones he wants him to look at, right? And she's there doing plants, and she's taking care of the plants, and it's a little weird because she's like talking to the plants because she can communicate with the plants, but she doesn't have magic, but she can communicate with the plants. And he catches her doing that, and he's very rude. And it's this thing where we understand from her point of view that he's always been very standoffish and rude towards her. He's beneath her, right? That's the type of vibe we're getting. Except every single time they talk, she gets all bothered, which is kind of an issue because she can't with people because that makes the mark even worse. So that's the whole reason she lights the fucking candle, because she wants to do this guy. She wants to do this guy who's rude to her all the time. Girl, don't do it. And she can't do that if she doesn't get rid of the mark. And so the candle is a strong possibility. Like, if magic is real, it will do that, right? Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, the love interest I didn't like already, and the magic system is not well done. So that's why I DNF'd to 20%. Honestly, the fact that I got to 20%, we should all be proud. We're gonna do the last one really quick, which was Writers and Lovers, which is a book I didn't know I had on my actual TBR. Listen, if nothing else, we can be proud of this video for getting rid of books on my TBR that have been on there, or on my radar in general, for a long time, since around the time they've come out. So we love that for me. Because this one I have had on my TBR, apparently, for a very long time. I don't remember this. I should have taken it off. I did a TBR clean out like 2 years ago, and I should have taken it off then, because I don't like contemporary literary books. I don't like them. Which is what this is. This is essentially about a girl who mother said. Yeah, no, she dreams. Here's the thing. Here's why I think I originally put on my TBR. It's about writers, right? It's about writers. And when I would have put on my TBR would have been around my second read of Beach Read, right? And that, I really love that book. That book got me back into reading. And part of the reason why I like that book is because the conversation about writers, and writing, and that whole world in it, right? And so I think I put this one on my TBR because, one, people love the author, and two, it's, yes, a genre I don't generally like, but with an aspect in it that I have liked in the past. So maybe this is the one that I will like, right? Answer is no. I will tell you the exact part, what exactly happens, that made me go, no, I'm not gonna read this fucking book, and DNF'd. I think I read another 2%, but I DNF'd at 9%. So, yeah, no, I'll talk about that in a minute. She's like 31. Her mom recently died, out of the blue, and she's just trying to survive as she is in debt, and there's nothing she can do to pay it off, and there's nothing that like, it's like constantly gaining interest. Like, there's no way she's gonna be able to pay it off. It's just paying off the minimum until the day she dies, essentially. And also she's trying to do all this while also trying to write the book, as she has watched all her writer friends given up and moved on, becoming realtors or housewives or lawyers, right? She is still trying, and she's trying to decide if it's worth it or not, and all this stuff. Now, this is where we have to bring up that, hi, I'm a girl who is 27. I'm only 4 years younger than her, with a lot of student loans, trying to write a book, and my mother recently suddenly died. It hit a little too hard, but not hard enough as you'd expect, because the writing in this is not me. It's so bad. I can't handle it. I get how people could like it, I guess, but the writing of this book is very much one of those books where it tries to be pretentious, but at the same time is also trying to be quirky, right? I mean, so in order to be quirky, it gives all these random side characters just one random fun fact the main character knows about them, right? So that when that character is introduced, we get this one random fun fact about this character that makes them a little quirky and a little weird, and that's supposed to make the book enjoyable. I don't know. I generally don't like that type of writing already, but one of her best friends, our introduction to this friend is how on a trip this friend had a dream and told her about this dream she had, a wet dream about her cat. I'm not kidding. That happened in this book. And it was supposed to be quirky. And I went, this is not okay. And I went, I sat there for another 2% being like, what the fuck am I reading? And then I went, nothing about this screams me. DNF. And that's it. That's the last book. I read some things. Thank you, bird in my window. Honestly, I wish I had like more books in this. I think what is happening, one, I'm partially in a reading slump, and two, I'm at the point in my life where if I'm not feeling a book, I'm gonna DNF it, right? I will not try to force myself through it in the hopes that it's better in the second half type situation. Most of the time, there are still outliers there, but I'm more willing to DNF this year apparently, because I'm gonna be honest. I think minus 1 month, I have DNF'd multiple books every month so far this year. I think this month like 4. 3 of them in this video. So that's the thing that's happening to me. And that's fine. That's fine. We're fine with that. Anyways, I'm gonna go finish watching Westworld. And I'll go read Fruits Basket instead. Honestly, this is how you know I should have DNF'd. I should have just stopped this video. It's because everything was yelling at me to read Fruits Basket instead. Because happy brain juice from nostalgia. And I went, no, I still have to continue this video. I technically didn't have to. All this stuff was added. It was pointless. I'm gonna go watch Westworld, and then I'm gonna go read that instead. Goodbye. End of video stuff. Wednesdays slightly edited down gaming videos. I say that. The next ones for a bit are gonna be more edited down because they're me playing Subnautica too. And so I cut them up into more parts than normal, and I edit them a lot more than I normally do. So that's the thing. I say that, but this coming Wednesday is actually going to be the wrap-up because the way that the lineup of the end/beginning of the month is, that's the best setup for that. And then Saturdays are booktube videos, right? Next Saturdays, I think, is another weird smut. I'm excited for it. June is going to be a lot of gay books, so I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at my library card, yeah, I have a plan. It's not a strong plan, but I have a plan. The end, that's it. I'm gonna go watch Westworld and play with my dog and try to stop her from running around with a yak chew in the back of her throat. She's interesting. Goodbye until the next video.